about some meditation. We're going to talk about some inspiration. Ask ourselves the questions. If it's not one of the three, I don't want it. Going to go ahead and start getting that connection going. Connecting with YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, Twitter, and YouTube. So we're out there in our positions and in our days, we're focusing on our abilities to get into ourselves, putting ourselves in that place where our mentality matters, where our ability inside matters. Start asking ourselves the questions, how we utilize what we have inside. Start utilizing the challenges that we have. Start facing off against the things that we go through. And so, what are some of the challenges that you're facing off against today? Like, comment, write in your concerns, your challenges. Start getting connected as a part of the network here that we talk about challenges on a daily basis. We are also doing energy readings, talking about meditation, talking about our inspiration and what drives us on a daily basis and what helps us to be closer to who we are on the inside. So what are some of those challenges that you're going through today? What are some of those things that you're looking to overcome? How do you overcome your challenges? And how do you get into the way and the mentality to see in a positive way, to see the challenges that you go through in such a way that positivity starts to become a vibration, that the person that you are inside. And there's a lot of times where we're having challenges, where we're working through things, where we're asking ourselves, is this possible? Is it possible that I can make it through these kind of challenges? Is it possible that I could be on this page, that what I'm going through is there for me? And a lot of us are going through challenges. And there was a friend of mine who's actually going through a challenge right now, and he was a chef, and he ended up cooking, and his parents are millionaires, and they didn't even care to help him out, so basically he had to go to New York, actually to LA, and he had to actually sleep on the streets. And I was reading that story, and I was thinking about, I was remembering a time when like, things were not well back in 2013. And I remember where we had to get out there and we had to actually clean people's homes. We had to get out there and become resourceful and start to put ourselves in such a way that the mentality inside started to vibrate outwards, and the person inside of who you are matters. The ability to use the gifts that you have inside, the challenges that you have inside, the mentality that you have inside to overcome your challenges. A lot of us are facing off against challenges. A lot of us are asking the questions that, is it possible to make it through these challenges? Is it possible for us to continue to focus past them, to put ourselves on a page where everything that we have inside starts to vibrate, where our ability inside starts to become a reflection outward? The level of focus, the level of being inside is that you are always going to be yourself, that you are always going to face off against challenge, that the things that you go through on a daily basis, you have the ability to overcome. And a lot of people, they don't give themselves that place. They don't give themselves that kind of permission. They don't put their challenges in such a way that they are able to overcome their challenges. So each of us has challenges. Each of us has things to work through. Each of us has questions to ask ourselves. And when you start asking yourself, how focused am I? You start to see the reflection radiating. It starts to become a manifestation. It starts to become a part of your being. It starts to become a part of your level of focus. And each of us has challenges. We have things that we have to work through. We have places that we want to get to. We have things that we want to do, and how do we start to get there? How do we start to focus to that level? How do we give ourselves that ability to focus beyond our challenges, right? And so each challenge that you face off against, each thing that you work through, each place that you go inside of yourself, each part of who you are comes from how focused one is, how willing one is to go from the point inwards and allow that to become a reflection outwards, allow that to be a part of who you are, to focus to that place where you're utilizing what you have inside. Because each of you have gifts, each of you have challenges, each of you have things that when you have the ability to face off against them, you can overcome. But you have to give yourself the ability to get there where the mentality starts to work, where the ability inside of you starts to come out. And so are we doing that for ourselves? Are we putting ourselves on that kind of mentality, where are we giving ourselves that kind of page? I see as it improves, and how I see the connection and the community starting to build, and I see people starting to say thank you for building a community. And I remember when it was keeping me alive, when I was facing off against those kinds of challenges, when I was in such a place that the challenges that I was facing off against was so great that I was not afraid to die. And I realized that I had a friend who actually explained to me that at that level of mentality, at that level of place inside of ourselves, a lot of people would call that suicidal. That's not what it is, guys. It's a will to live. It's a will to push oneself past the challenges, to challenge the mentality to the place where you love the things that you do so much that the results is that you're going to make a way or you're going to find a way. And we each have that place inside of ourselves. We have to stand up inside of who we are, inside of our mentality, inside of our level of liberation, where we love it so much that we're willing to die for it. We're willing to focus to the point where the results are not a surprise when we make it out on the other side. See, when I spent 5 hours in a sauna without leaving, when I was inside there and I was meditating, I was no longer afraid of dying. And the point behind that was that I focused to the point where I overcame my fears, where I overcame my challenges, where what was going on inside was greater than what's going on the outside. And this is the type of message that I want you to hear for yourself. It's that if you work on yourself, if you put yourself in a place where you are greater on the inside, if you know that you can make it out on the other side, then do what you love to do. Be who you want to be. Focus to that point where the challenges no longer stop you, where they no longer hold you back, where the breath that you have inside of yourself, the mentality that you have inside of you, gives you the ability to be who you are. And a lot of people are stopped from being able to do that. They're stopped from that place inside of themselves. And I realized that, the things that might kill people, that might stop people from being who they are, is the disabled mentality. It's the disabled ability. It's when we focus to that point where we truly see our dreams, we truly see our goals, we truly see our manifestation. And so each person inside has that kind of a challenge where we are a blessing in the universe, where our challenges start to work there for us. They start to be in front of us. They start to ask us the questions that nobody else can. They start to get down with the parts inside of ourselves where we are so focused that the light starts to radiate outwards. When you start to see yourself as a beauty in the universe, when you start to see yourself as a reflection outwards, when you start to see other people's eyes light up, other people's beings light up, you start to see a focus to a point where your challenges no longer have the ability to stop you, to get to the place where you're so focused that you're not afraid of the dark any longer. And a lot of people get stuck in that place. They feel like there's no way to overcome your pains. There's no way to overcome your challenges. There's no way to get to the place where you have the ability to be who you are on the inside. And so are you focusing to that point? Are you giving yourself that ability? Are you giving yourself the place inside of who you are where what you're manifesting is happening? If you're seeing yourself in a certain way, if you see yourself in a certain reflection, are you seeing yourself in a place from within who you are? Are you focusing to that point? Are you truly giving yourself the ability to be who you are on the inside? Are you manifesting your being outwards? This channel's for you. If you're looking inside, if you feel like there's just only a little bit left in me, I want to spark that part inside of yourself. I want to spark that part inside of you to tell you it's worth it. even your last breath is worth it. Even your ability to choose your day, to choose your weeks, to choose your being, to be who you are on the inside, to manifest that outwards, that's up to you. And it's inside of the mentality that we see the people that are able and we see the people that are disabled. The mentality is the thing that's either able or disabled. It's your level of focus. It's what you put your mind to. It's what you put your mind on. And can we start putting ourselves in a place where positivity starts to come out? Can we start putting ourselves in a place where we're being who we are on the inside and the reflection starts to radiate outwards? Can we write the things down in front of ourselves that we have the ability to utilize them? Can we create picture boards and start to see the things become manifested? Can we put ourselves in a place where our challenges no longer have the ability to stop us, but they start working as our friends? And so, are we embracing that part of ourselves? Are we becoming victorious on our daily? Are we getting to the place where we are being who we are on the inside, where we're facing off against our challenges at a higher level, where our manifestation is vibrating, where people come to you and you're not surprised in the results? When they come to you and you see the results and they become a blessing, where what you have on the inside radiates light at that level. So, how focused are you? How focused are you on your path? Write down your answers there. Put them on the networks. Connect with the networks in such a way that you utilize what you have, that you utilize your challenges, that we work as a community, that we work through these things in a positive way, that we utilize this blessing that we are alive. And so each of us has challenges. Each of us has things that we can overcome. And so what are your challenges that you're facing off against today? How can we start working to building a positive community? How can we start working to building a positive ability? How can we start working to building an ability to overcome your challenges? You see, each individual is a blessing in the universe. You have the ability to overcome your challenges when you put your mind to it, when you put your place of foundation, when you're looking beyond your challenges, when you're seeing the universal aspect, when you're starting to see the things in the universe as positive. And sometimes we are forgetting that it's just a page in our book, it's a page in our mentality, it's a page in our ability, and we're not allowing that next page to happen. We're not allowing that next page to process. We're not allowing ourselves to go through those things, those places that we would get to the other side of. Because when we put ourselves in that place, when we focus through those kind of challenges, when we focus to the point where we have the ability to be ourselves, when we focus to the place where we go from within, where we start to manifest, the reflection starts to radiate, the questions start to come. People start to ask you how you were able to be yourself. They start to ask you how you're able to go through your challenges. Where did you go to get that kind of mentality? Who taught you how to do that? And meanwhile, all you are being is yourself. All you are being is who you are. And you are blessings. You are sons. You are daughters of the Most High God. You are a blessing within the universe. You have a path within the universe. You have a purpose within the universe. And you have a level of understanding that you can do things, that you can become it, you can manifest it, that the being inside of you can radiate light outwards. And I see you across the face of the planet. I see those people who are watching those videos in the different parts of the world, and I see the challenges that you go through and the things that you face off against. And we acknowledge your challenges. We acknowledge the ability that they're there for you, that you are going to work through them. And you embrace those challenges. You embrace those things that only you can do, that only you can face off against, that only you can have. And we recognize that each of us has challenges. We recognize that the being within radiates light outwards, that the universe is a blessing, that the breath, the very essence of our beings are there. And so focus to that place where we have that ability, where we utilize that kind of energy, where what we have going on inside is us, where we have the ability to overcome those kinds of challenges. And so I want to talk a little bit about how positivity moves negativity out of the way. I want to start talking a little bit about how when you're positive, you have the ability for those things that are not meant for you to move out of the way. Our mentality is what enables us or disables us. Our mentality is the thing that we search for and that we look forward to overcoming. And so how do we use our mentality? How do we utilize that level inside of ourselves where we have the ability to overcome those kind of challenges? See, your challenges that you're facing off against on a daily, you had to learn them. You had to learn that they were challenges. You had to, the first time you hit a curb with your foot, you had to learn that the curb is there. And so the first thing that we have to remember is that every challenge that we face off against comes from knowledge. It comes from a process of allowing ourselves to focus on that knowledge, to focus on those kind of challenges that allow us to step foot over the curb, to step foot instead of hitting the curb. And so when we put ourselves in a place of positivity, when we think in such a way that I am going to step up over this curb, it starts to become simple to understand that the connection between hitting the curb and stepping over the curb is in your mind. And so if you're focusing that you're going to hit the curb every time, the likelihood is that you're going to hit the curb every time. If you're focused that you're going to step over the curb, then the likelihood is that you're going to step over the curb. So the question is, what is the difference between the person who hits the curb and the person who steps over the curb? And so this is where the thing comes in. It's a positive thinking to believe in yourself that the reflection starts to radiate outwards, that you step over the curb. Now, each of us have those things in our life where that can be applied. We have those kind of challenges that are asking us if that's possible. And we find that when you're searching out for positivity, the reflections are going to come back. They're going to start being there for you. They're going to ask you the questions, hey, will this work? And if you start to find the things that start working in your life, you start to find the things that become positive within you, you start to find the manifestations within who you are, then you start to see that that process is actually your ability for you to be yourself, right? And so are we seeing that for ourselves? So I just want to go ahead and acknowledge those people on the WordPress that have actually reached out here. I see the 3 people in the United States, the 2 people in India, the 1 person in Finland, and the person in Germany. So those are the people that have viewed me today on WordPress. You guys are welcome to leave comments on the multiple platforms. The YouTube channel is ZEROMLP2000 @gmail. The WordPress is motivationmeditationinspiration.yoga. So the connection of the body with the mind, the breath, the ability for us to be ourselves, putting ourselves in a place where we're using this as a professional aspect. If your team is in need of a mentality, if you're looking to increase your team, you can definitely reach out to me. We can set up a time. I can come in. I can actually help your team to increase in profits, in the ability to get to the place where you're utilizing this kind of mentality, where they're seeing you as a reflection, where you're becoming the top dog in your market. And this is how we can utilize it, right? By bringing your team together and starting getting down with their challenges. And so I remember working with a team in San Diego with Chrysler, and getting to that place where I was first and second place every single month. And so how I utilize that by mastering the time that we have. We only have 24 hours a day. How well are you utilizing it? How well are you focused into it? The ability to put ourselves on a page where we're focused, to where we can see the other side, the invisible side. And I'm talking to your sales teams out there. I'm talking about how we could put ourselves in that place where we're utilizing this in a professional aspect. And so the mentality that I'm talking about, the reflection outwards, will inspire your teams to improve. They will inspire your teams to improve in mentality, in your being, your life. And if you're in a sales team, or you're in a profession and you're looking to improve your profession, hear the mentality and start searching out for the focus, how you can utilize focus in your daily, how you can put yourself in a place where you have that kind of ability, where you step into the challenge before you ever face off against the challenge, where the ability for it to turn into a positive day comes from your positive thinking. It comes from inside of yourself, inside of your being. And so each of us have that ability. And like, you might be at the bottom of your sales team right now. You might be facing off against challenges in your profession. And it's when you stop comparing yourself to somebody else, you start looking inside of yourself at what you can do with what you have, and what you can do with the gifts that you have inside of yourself, that you start to utilize your mentality. And I remember being there. I remember utilizing this in an aspect, with the professional aspect of writing down the things in the business meetings that we were having every single Friday. And so we would be in there at 8 o'clock on Friday morning, sitting down all together, going through our notes, going through our challenges, going through a place inside of ourselves, and putting ourselves in a place where the profession was actually radiating outwards. That the ability to become a professional came from the mentality, came from the ability inside of ourselves to achieve what we wanted. If you want to achieve a high level of success, the reflection comes from within you. Like, once you master it inside of yourself, once you master it inside of your being, it becomes possible. Once you master it inside of your level of focus and you utilize what you have on the inside, when you start to get to that place where you're not comparing yourself to somebody else, that's when you can reach the top. If you're still comparing yourself against somebody else, then you haven't put your shoulder to the wheel. You haven't grinded on that level. You haven't got to that place where you start to use your level of focus. And that means that other people are still filling that space. They're taking that kind of place in your life and that kind of place in your being. So how do you start to allow positivity to come into your life? How do you start to allow it? It starts in your mind. It starts in your ability to sit down with yourself and to start to focus through your challenges, to put yourself in a place where, you just started today. Like, today is your first day of your life, and you are waking up to get your day going. You're waking up to get your being going. If today was your first day at your position, how would you treat it? How would you put yourself in that kind of a place, when everything is working against you? How do you pick yourself up? How do you put yourself in a place where you start utilizing what you have? And so it's remembering that you're always going to be the underdog, even when you're on top. You're always one step away from somebody else taking the lead. And so you got to always remember that, you got to push yourself just a little bit to do the best you can with the things that you have, to be the person that you are inside, to be honest with yourself, to utilize your level of positivity, to utilize your level of ability. Your focus comes from within you. The professional comes from the reflection. It comes from your mentality. And each of us has one of those. Each of us has challenges. Each of us has things to work through. And so, are you working through your challenges? Are you putting yourself at a point where your positive thinking becomes a vibration? It becomes a part of who you are. And I remember writing things down and seeing them years later. I remember writing them down and then becoming a reflection. I remember putting them in such a way that what vibrated became a reflection outwards. And so each of us has that ability. We have that kind of place inside of ourselves where the mentality, the actual mentality matters. Because you matter. Your challenges matter. Your things that you focus on matter. So are you focusing to the point where other people that are not meant for you have the ability to move out of the way? And those people that are not meant to be in those types of positions, they move out of those positions on their own. And so how do we put ourselves in that kind of place where we become that type of ability, where we utilize those kinds of challenges And I'm talking to those people that are starting their positions today, starting their positions yesterday, started their positions a year ago, and they might feel stagnant. They might feel like it's not moving forward. Realize that that's a sign for you to start to look at how you can utilize what you have, because it's not what you don't have, it's what you have and how you utilize what you got. And so inside of ourselves, we have the ability to focus past our challenges. We have the ability to utilize our challenges. We have the ability to focus to the point where what we have going on comes from our vibration. And so where is your vibration? What is it that you utilize as a foundation? Do you want it so bad that the reflection radiates it? That you want to become that so bad that you're willing to die for it? See, not a lot of people are willing to take that step, and that's what holds a lot of people back. Not taking that step to being who they are on the inside, to utilizing their level inside of who they are to become that kind of blessing in the universe. See, a lot of people say they want to go on a diet. They start a diet, and then they're not willing to push when that diet challenges them. When that diet asks them, hey, like for instance, we were challenging ourselves. Me and someone close to me was actually challenging ourselves. We were putting ourselves in a place where we're like, okay, we're going to go 1 year with no meats. I look forward to the rest of my life with no meats. I look forward to the ability that, that level of focus becomes a vibration where we start to focus past those kind of challenges. I'm talking about focus. I was just asked a question here. What are we talking about? We're talking about allowing Newton's third law. For each action, there's an equal and opposite reaction to work in our lives. We're looking at how in our professions we utilize our challenges. You see, a lot of us have different kinds of challenges. And that is an example of one of them. So diet is an example. If you want to be a healthy person and you make a decision for yourself on what you're going to put into your diets, it's your choice to what you eat and don't eat. And if you choose to do something like not eating meat anymore, for example, then you're going to be searching out for things that don't have meat in them. In your aspect, those things that you are focused into work the same way. Okay, some of us out there, we create vision boards. We have things on our vision boards, and yet we still see those things are actually being manifested. And so, each day that we give ourselves that place, that we put that kind of vision board in front of ourselves, where we start to see where it's going to go, where our focus is going to go, where our reflection comes from. And it's inside of ourselves that we utilize those kind of challenges. And each of us have that ability to overcome those challenges, but it's up to you. It's up to you to focus to that level, And when do you focus to that level? When do you give yourself the permission to utilize those kind of challenges? When do you give yourself the place to where you allow the things to move out of your life because you want them so bad that they're going to happen or you're going to die? So that is a different kind of mentality. And it's where it creates a foundation. Like a lot of business owners across the face of the planet, the reason why they became a business owner was because they were so tired being taken advantage of other people that if they couldn't find a way, they were going to make a way. And so that is how they got to the place where they got to. And so a lot of us see that, and we reflection outwards from that place is that what they utilized was their gifts. They utilized their path. They utilized their abilities inside of themselves. And a lot of those business owners who actually achieve high levels of success happen from using the skills that you learned in school. The skills that you learned when you were in elementary. And so are you using those kind of skills on your daily? Are you putting yourself on the page where you're becoming both the student and the teacher in your life? Take a look at how you learn in school and utilize it on self-study. Utilize it on the ability to connect yourself. Utilize your challenges and get to the place where you start to overcome them. See, inside of ourselves, inside of this being, inside of who we are on the inside, we have the ability to face off against our challenges. And each of us have challenges. So there's nobody that's exempt from challenges on the face of the planet. So are we focusing to the point where we have the ability to learn the lessons behind our challenges? Where we're able to utilize the energy within ourselves? Where we're able to utilize the purpose within who we are? See, yesterday I was helping my brother out, and we were doing about 85 bales of hay, 84, something like that. And I've been doing meditation for quite some time. And I had cowboy boots on, like, steel toe boots, just like out there just to protect, work boots basically. And I was at this person's house that was absolutely tired, nearly 5 o'clock, dehydrated, everything is going on, drinking as much as I could of water, but I ran out. And so I'm there, and I remembered, why don't you just sit on the back end of the truck and give yourself a few minutes to breathe? Give yourself a few minutes to center yourself, to recognize the environment, to recognize the being that you are, the challenges that you face off against, the level of understanding that you have inside of yourself. Sometimes we get so caught up in other things that we forget about ourselves. We forget about who we are on the inside, and that the universe can work for you. And so sometimes we got to let the universe work. We got to let the universe have its path, have its own purpose, that you can allow it to take over. And so at that point we become a student in our lives. Each of us have a path, but have you taken the time to study your path? Have you taken the time to sit down with yourself, to put yourself in a place where the emotion starts to become the teacher? The pain starts to become the teacher. I saw a quote one day that was a jiu-jitsu quote, and I don't remember the exact person who said it, but he said that, the best teacher is pain, but nobody wants to show up to class. And it really is amazing that when you're going through a hard time, you learn a lot of lessons, you learn a lot of things, you utilize your focus, and you start asking yourself, what am I focusing on? What am I working through? And it's when we get through those kind of places that we recognize that the teacher is within us, that the student is within us, that the simplicity inside of ourselves to do energy readings. Actually, I am doing energy readings. I'm at the point where I'm actually talking about meditation, but I'm more than willing to do an energy reading if you'd like to call in. So energy readings actually used to be called aura readings, but that's too simple. In fact, reading somebody's aura is just telling them what color. It's not giving them an understanding of how to utilize the combination of energy within themselves. A energy reading has the ability to use those kind of challenges that you face off against so you can utilize them for yourself. And so doing meditation for nearly a decade, so I was asked a question, how does an energy reading work? So across the face of the planet, there are people that have all different types of energy. Now, there is 7 energy combinations that exist. There is the white, the purple, the blue, the green, the orange, and the yellow, and the red energy fields. Now, they not only have a characteristic inside of you, they also have a characteristic around you. A perfect example of this was yesterday. I did an energy reading while I was out, and this girl has a depth perception, and the nervous system is taking an effect. And so this is because the energy has been centralized around that area. And so because they've neglected the nervous system, the challenges that they're facing off against are affecting their nervous system. So meditation gives you the ability to understand the energy inside. Now, I've been doing it for almost 10 years. I started when I was 27 and I'm 34. And so when energy works in a way that the whole entire being vibrates like for instance, I've read people's energy that had like green energy, and you could feel that they're suffering from a broken heart. That you can see it. I could literally see it. And when I got out of the sauna, they told me they were suffering from a broken heart. I didn't even have to tell them that. So that kind of energy that flows inside of you has a vibration from the knowledge inside of you. It's like a lotus. Like the outside of the lotus is the breath and the experience that you face off against. And on the inside is the knowledge. So an energy reading actually is the reading of that energy, both the knowledge and the pages of the knowledge and how it flows throughout your being. And so people do call in, and there have been times I've done about 7 energy readings in an hour before. If you want to look back through my videos, you can actually go back and watch my videos on YouTube. My website is motivationmeditationinspiration.yoga, and it's all one word: motivation, meditation, inspiration. So it's really interesting because I don't really focus on my own energy. I've already worked through all of that part of myself. I spent 5 hours in the sauna before walking out of the sauna, and going in and out for additional 3. So when I was in San Diego, a lot of people knew me as the person who could spend the most time inside of a sauna without leaving. Okay, so I have videos on YouTube of how I did meditation, how I do meditation. It's just up to you to learn it for yourself, to understand your energy inside of yourself. Like one of the examples is a lot of people that you see that have a lot of arguing parts of themselves. They look into negativity a lot, that are very red. That energy flows in that way. And so that's just one angle that we can actually show an example. You see somebody who's very red all the time. A lot of time that comes from their ability to stand their ground in all situations, and that type of energy bottles up sometimes. And we have different ones though. We also have the orange energy. We have the yellow energy that has to deal with the thought process itself. A lot of those people have worry. There's a lot of differences within each individual energy field. So the understanding of how that energy actually works inside is what an energy reading is. And so how to utilize it as well, how to utilize that energy so it starts to flow inside of yourself is a part of energy readings. And so spending so much time focusing on that ability to be who we are on the inside can give us the ability to understand ourselves and to understand other people. And yet the focus, the knowledge, the pains, the emotions that you have inside of you, they're waiting for you to learn from them. They're waiting for you to work through them. They're waiting for the reflection to actually start to radiate outwards. And so a lot of people used to ask me, how did you start to get into this practice? How did you get to that point? And meanwhile, all I was trying to do was be myself. And that's all we can ever be, is ourselves. We can only be who we are on the inside, and we can only allow the people that are positive to move into our direction when we're focused into positivity. And so when I learned to do that, I remember speaking to people and communicating with people and being able to connect with them on their own level, understanding how their energy flowed. And so it's an amazing thing to utilize that, and it's a gift that I give to the Most High. I'm just yet but a tool in this universe, and there are many tools out there in this universe. There are many gifts. There are many people that utilize that understanding. So inside of ourselves, we are both the student and the teacher. There's a focus to the point where you overcome your fears. There's a focus to the point where you overcome your emotions, where you allow that student and teacher to overcome your pains. And so we have to allow ourselves that process to be that we are connected with the universe, and we are connected with that being that we are, that human being. It's amazing that we are called that thing, being present inside of yourself, being present inside of your focus, and your knowledge is centered within oneself, like focus and knowledge being centered to a point, and this becoming the place of discipline, this becoming the classroom, this becoming the light that you are, the understanding that you have inside of yourself, the freedom, the liberation from those challenges. And a lot of people don't learn that. They don't get to that place where they're utilizing that kind of understanding, where they're yoking the focus and knowledge that is centering within oneself. And it's interesting when you see those people that are centered inside of themselves, where they're not expecting something from others. They're actually giving to others and receiving in return from the universe. Each of us have those kinds of places inside of ourselves where we want other people to become a reflection of inspiration from us. We want other people to become inspired by your life in essence. And are you living your life? Are you putting yourself in a place where you're utilizing what you have? And so I was asked, what do I do for work? Okay, so I did 3.5 years of telesales, 2.5 years of car sales, was first and second place every month, and 5 years of rideshare, Uber, Lyft, stuff like that, and food deliveries. In nearly 15,000 trips with customers in the car, an additional 5,000 plus food deliveries. And so the last decade, I've literally talked to more than 100,000 people. Okay, and what matters is that I wanted those people to feel self-love. And once I learned that self-love was nothing less than self-knowledge, is self-honesty, I started to see that the hardest trade on the face of the planet to work was using your focus and your knowledge centered inside of yourself. That's the key to uplifting your life, is to be you, to be simply who you are on the inside. Like when you speak your mind, when you truly speak who you are inside, when it starts to light up the world and other people start to see you for you, okay, and they start to see you for who you are inside. Like I also have my website, which is motivationmeditationinspiration.yoga, and so you can actually research that as well. You'll actually find where I keep that, and I also have almost over close to 300 videos on YouTube. And so when focus and knowledge becomes connected, where the being inside of you starts to feel lighter, when you start to have those kind of aha moments, I get it. I get it that I am a blessing. I get it that I am have a purpose on the face of the planet, that my level of focus and knowledge, the relation that I have with the universe, is that I can be this human being that I am, that knowledge becomes a reflection of self-love and self-honesty, self-being. And it takes patience to connect your whole being to you, to connect your whole reflection within you outwards. And it's being yourself realistically. And a lot of people have lost that ability, and I know I see it all the time, that they want to become somebody other than themselves. They want to go and do something that they are not. And when we find ourselves, when we find who we are on the inside, when we start to become that kind of vibration, the universe itself starts to work in your favor, starts to create a pattern called you. And it created a pattern inside of me when I was sleeping in my van and I was delivering food. Okay, when I was meditating in the sauna, and I'm not only do I have my own practice, I have my own meditation, I have my own motivation, meditation, inspiration quote, I have a mantra, which I like to share with you guys. And it's I don't want to just be a life coach. I want to be known that the day that this thing left this thing, that I was known as an inspiration, a connection of focus, knowledge, and discipline at a place where the reflection was meditation. See, self-study is a inspiration in the universe. And it's through helping people, which I have helped people out. It's through, like when I came to Arizona after that time that I spent in San Diego, and I was meditating and sleeping in my van, and I was hearing the things like Eric Thomas' speech about, if you want it to be successful as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. And see, I have successfully been putting out videos for days, weeks, months, and over a year. So that quote is what kept me alive. Is what I'm doing today, is it motivation? Is it meditation? Is it inspiration? If it's not one of the three, I don't want it. And so I realized that if it's not positive, if it's not bringing me to a place where motivation is becoming a reflection, if it's not positive, it's not bringing me to a place where inspiration and meditation are becoming a reflection, if I'm not using my level of focus, if I'm not using my knowledge, if I'm not using my discipline inside, then I'm not utilizing my being. And so each of us have that ability to utilize that being from within to reflect outwards what we want to become. It's up to you to focus to that point. It's up to you to achieve it within yourself and to utilize your level of mentality. And so I would like to let you see that you can do things too, that you can become a reflection in the universe, that you can utilize that level of motivation, that level of meditation, that level of inspiration to ask yourself the questions and to become that kind of blessing. Anyways, I just want to close, and I want you guys to understand that every day that you're alive, every day that you're on your path, every part of your challenges, they bring you closer to being yourself. And I just want you all to be blessed as I close. I just want to say blessings, blessings.